Hi, I'm Meg, and welcome back to the Confident Client series. If you're new here, this series is all about helping you make confident, informed decisions about your website. I'm not here to commit you to work with me specifically. I'm just here to give you the knowledge and clarity you need to move forward with confidence, whether you work with me or someone else. I'm a Squarespace web designer and an SEO specialist, but more than that, I consider myself your confidence catalyst, because my goal is to bridge the gap between your expertise and your online presence. So today I'm going to answer a question that I've gotten a lot. What are you getting when you invest 3, 5, 10,000, maybe even more in a custom Squarespace website? Where is that money actually going? I'm going to share with you exactly where it's going. First thing I want you to know that it's not just going to design. You're not just paying for pretty design. A custom website investment covers your strategy, your user experience, the technical implementations, sometimes the SEO optimization, training, maybe even ongoing support. It's a comprehensive service. So I want to take a look at it in terms of 7 major cost components where this investment typically goes. So first, your discovery and strategy. This is what happens before any design happens. Your designer is going to need to understand your business goals, your audience, your brand, your competitors. This is going to include likely some questionnaires, a discovery call or two, mapping out your current site or where you want your new site to go in terms of the customer journey. This helps build a foundation and ensures that your designer can build what actually is going to serve your business. Second is the design and the user experience. And this is where your designer is going to create your custom layouts, design for your mobile responsiveness, build the hierarchy, make sure that all of the decisions about the appropriate typography, color, imagery, spacing, every little design decision that you're going to see in the end and be presented to for revision and feedback. So there's a lot that goes into that behind the scenes to come up with something that's going to work for you. Next up is content and copywriting. So depending on your designer and what the package you have bought includes, some of these things might include copywriting, copy editing, maybe some SEO keyword research or a full SEO strategy. There could be guidance on building out your content. This could even include helping with sourcing of stock imagery and other design elements. A good designer is going to help guide you on what's going to work best for your website. Next up is going to be the actual technical build and implementation of the website. This is where your strategy becomes reality. Building all of the pages, adding custom code or plugins for any of that special functionality or features that your website needs, integrating with third-party providers like your scheduling software, your email service providers, anything like that, the SEO setup, getting your forms set up, and making sure that you're ready to take on and measure analytics, and all the testing to make sure everything flows and works, all the buttons work, everything flows the way it's supposed to, all of those things. Those are all the little problems that your designer is helping to solve that you may not have even known could have existed. Number 5 is revisions and refinement. A professional designer is going to build in rounds of revisions because your feedback is going to matter and the details will need some fine-tuning. So this isn't about fixing mistakes, it's about collaborative refinement process. Some designers like myself will build out an entire homepage first and give that to you for feedback first, to make sure that the general design and everything is heading in the right direction and matches up with what we've discussed in all of our strategy calls and work prior to that. Once we get approval on that, we'll move on to building the rest of the pages in line with that design strategy. Number 6 is training and launch support. When your website is ready to launch and for the designer to hand it off into your care, you should be getting some level of comprehensive training at launch. This can involve one-on-one training with your designer. Perhaps they provide you with a resource library and video tutorials. You also want to be sure that they're giving you specific training or documentation for how to do things that are specific to your site, especially if you have some custom code or plugins or specific software that you've integrated with your website that you need to know how to work on later. You also need to know that you have a method of getting support after the fact. Once you've beyond your support period and you've launched your website and you're just out there maintaining it, if you run into trouble and you need help, there should be a path forward for you to get that help. You don't want to be handed a site and just left to figure it out on your own. 7 is the overall project management. Behind the scenes, your designer is not just building out a pretty website. They're managing timelines, communication, gathering content, perhaps some vendor coordination, learning things about the specific pieces of software that you need to add, perhaps having a cat join them in the process as an assistant project manager. But they're making sure that everything is running smoothly, making sure that they're communicating with you about what your responsibilities are, what deadlines are coming up, and making sure that the project is moving along smoothly. So they're kind of wearing all hats. Now, let's talk about a little bit of the cost here. So you've paid for your designer, you've got this project, but what else goes into a custom website? Well, you're going to have to pay Squarespace to host your website. And so that's going to entail a monthly or most commonly an annual fee. This is separate. This is a subscription that you're going to pay directly to Squarespace, and that's going to be on an annual recurring basis. Yes, you can do monthly, but you save a lot of money by going annual. So why do custom websites cost more than a template? Well, templates are great, and they serve a lot of good purposes. But a template, which is going to run a few $100s, that's giving you a pre-made design, some generic layouts, and you're basically going to be on your own. For implementation, for the SEO, for any troubleshooting, you're going to have to learn the platform and how to do everything yourself, and sourcing all of your content and making sure it's put together strategically. Now, there's some really great templates out there that are created in strategic layouts and things like that, but it's not the same as getting something that's custom. A custom website is going to give you a website designed specifically for you and your brand and business goals. It's going to have a strategic structure built for your audience, implemented by a professional who should be providing you expert guidance, SEO optimization, training, and they should also be someone who is most likely going to also be invested in your success. Think of it like the difference between buying a dress off the rack and having one tailored specifically for you. So what are you really paying for? Well, when you hire a professional designer to build a custom website for you, you're investing in their years of expertise, which should give you peace of mind, time saved, help you with the strategic thinking, and give you confidence in how you're going to show up online with your business. And they're going to give you a website that should actually help convert your visitors into leads or clients. They've invested a significant amount of time in building that expertise, and that's what they're there to help translate into your website. So what are we talking about with a typical investment range? Well, custom Squarespace websites can have a very wide range, but they'll typically range from anywhere about $2,500 to $3,000 on up. You're going to average probably around $5,000 or so, but as the complexity of your website, your business needs, that can increase quite a lot depending on the scope and the complexity, as well as the designer's experience, the timeline, all of those things. So it's not out of the realm to see custom Squarespace websites going for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 or more, particularly in the e-commerce space. And when you are adding on different services to the website design, including SEO, copywriting, maybe they're doing some photography or sourcing photography for you, and any ongoing support packages, that's going to add to the bottom line of that cost as well. What are some red flags when it comes to pricing that you should be looking out for? One, if it seems too cheap, you should be asking, are they cutting corners somewhere on my strategy or maybe the SEO? Are they really doing custom work, or are they just retooling a template that they use over and over again with every customer? Are they going to support me after the launch, or am I going to be left on my own? And if it seems too expensive to you, you should also ask, what is included? How does this compare to my industry standards? And what makes this package different from other designers? Now, if you haven't watched already in this series, I've done a video that lays out 10 questions that you should ask a designer before you hire them. So I highly recommend, if you haven't watched that you check that video out, because we'll go into more detail about some of these red flags and all the questions that you should be asking before you make your hiring decision. So now you know where your investment is going when you hire a web designer to do your custom Squarespace website. In the next video, we'll be talking about what happens after your site launches, because your relationship with your designer shouldn't end at launch, or at least it doesn't have to. So if this was helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like or subscribe button so you don't miss the rest of this series. And thank you for watching. I'm Meg, your confidence catalyst, and I'll see you in the next video.